Hi viewers, my name is Uncle P and you're on to Isife EduBlog. And then if you are new in this channel, don't forget to hit on the subscription button. And if you have any question, go to the comment section and drop your question. Today will be a special video for those of you that are preparing for WAEC 2022. We're going to be interpreting the practical, the specimen, WAEC 2022 Biology Practical Specimen. It is grouped into two, Group 1 and Group 2. Group 1 is from Specimen A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. A lot of questions were asked from Specimen A to G. Your question number 1 and question number 2, as well as question number 3, will be based on Group 1. And then question number 4 or 5 will be based on Group 2. Okay, so you'll be seeing at least 3 or 4 questions to answer all. Okay, so we're going to start immediately. Look at a specimen for observation. The first specimen is Specimen A, which is Weevil damaged bean seed. Weevil damaged bean seed. You will see a question like this that may say that you should identify Specimen A without giving reason. Why Specimen A? Question like this carry 1 mark. Identify Specimen A without reason. And what would be your answer? My answer is very simple. Specimen A is Weevil damaged bean seed. Please never you put S in the bean, because expected that each candidate should be provided with 1 bean seed. So Specimen A is Weevil damaged bean seed. That is how to answer that. Okay, we're going to be looking at we're going to preempt these examiners to see what questions they will likely come up with that may tend to get the student confused. I've asked you how the first question will be to identify. The examiner wants to explore you to know whether you actually can, as a biology student that have all these years, you have done biology from SS1 to SS3. The examiner would like to know whether if you see a bean seed that is Weevil damaged, whether you can be able to identify it from the one that is viable. That is the interest the examiner is looking at to see. Okay, since this bean seed is Weevil damaged, examiner will like to take you on this Weevil. They will not feel something. Maybe that day on the exam, maybe even see the bean, see Weevil infested bean, see the Weevil coming out from it. The examiner would like to take you on this Weevil. The second question they may ask you, since it is Weevil damaged, could be to classify this Weevil infested bean. Classify the pests that infects this bean into this kingdom, phylum, and then class, giving reasons in each of the classification. How are you going to classify this Weevil that has damaged this bean? To which kingdom will Weevil be classified? Weevil will belong to the kingdom Animalia. That's how you state it. Animalia. Remember, in biology, spelling is very important. Very, very important. Absolutely. It belongs to the kingdom Animalia. Why is it Animalia? Weevil depend on this bean seed to survive. So Weevil is a consumer and not a producer. It depends on that bean seed, which is a plant. So that's why the reason why it is animal. All animals are consumers. So all animals will belong to this kingdom Animalia. And then we go to the phylum to which this Weevil belongs. This Weevil belongs to the phylum Arthropoda. It's very important, your spellings, he knows correct spelling, knows call. So this is the Arthropoda, that is the phylum it belongs. We have about 11 phyla of animal, 11 to 13 phyla of animal. So this Weevil belongs to Arthropoda. And you must give the examiner reason why you say so. It belongs to Arthropoda, and possibly tell the examiner other organisms that may belong to this phylum apart from Weevil. Why is Weevil an arthropod? Weevil is an arthropod because of its body is jointed. It has a jointed legs. I'll call it jointed appendage. So the reason why Weevil is an arthropoda is because of the reason. I'll just put the reason here. Reason is due to one, jointed appendages or leg. That is the first reason why Weevil belongs to Arthropoda. Second reason why it is an Arthropoda is because of exochitinous skeleton. So the two reasons why Weevil is an arthropod is because of one, jointed appendages. Two, the skeleton is made up of what? Chitin. Okay, now to which class does it belong? But before I go to the class, I want to give an example of other organism that is an arthropod alongside with Weevil. Again, another example I will give is spider is also an arthropod. Cockroach is also an arthropod. Mosquito is also an arthropod. Termite is also an arthropod. These are examples of other arthropods except Weevil. Reasons that all these mentioned organisms, all these mentioned invertebrates has jointed appendages or exoskeleton of chitin. So we go to the class it belongs. Weevil belongs to the class Insecta. Class Insecta. In arthropod, there are 4 classes of arthropods. 4 classes of arthropods. One is Insecta. Other classes under arthropod, apart from insectans, are arachnids, crustaceans, and myriapoda. So out of the 4 listed now, Insecta, myriapoda, crustacea, and then arachnida, Weevil belong to Insecta. Reason why Weevil belongs to Insecta is simply because of 3 body division. Yes, the Weevil has 3. The body of the Weevil is divided into 3. One is there is a head that is distinctive. 2, there is a thorax. And 3, there is abdomen. Okay, any arthropod whose body is segmented into these 3 belong to what? Insecta. That is the reason why Weevil belongs to that class of what? Insecta. That will be the second question that the examiner will be asking the students or the candidates about this Weevil. And again, the third question that the examiner will ask him on this Weevil is that since this Weevil damages this seed, this bean seed, there will be a clear case of economic implication on these Weevil infested beans. And then examiner will want to come up with a tricky question, which could be that the candidates that they may be asked to at least state 4 ways in which 4 ways, I think I'll write it down. Okay, 4 ways to prevent infestation of the Weevil on Specimen A. This question will come in different ways to ensure that the Weevil doesn't get on these beans. What ways can it be prevented from infesting the seed? I think we want to take it one after the other. One. we can prevent this weevil infestation by making sure the seeds are what? Dry. By drying. By drying. Because studies have found out that this weevil, these insects may tend to be inefficient when these seeds are not moist. They tend to be predominant on the seed when it is moist, keep in a moist place. Second way to prevent it can also be keeping in a dry place. That is going to be okay. Drying or keeping in a dry environment. That's one way it can be safe from the infestation of what? Weevil. Secondly, you can also use freezing. Freezing. That temperature may not no weevil will stay alive at that temperature that can be provided by freezing. Next could be canning. Canning. Next could be canning. Okay, we have three now. Drying or keeping in a dry environment. 2. Freezing. Then use of insecticide. Insecticide or is a pest, so you can also use pesticide. You can go. Use of pesticide or insecticide, canning, freezing, drying or keeping in a dry environment, or keeping in a cool, dry place. These are 4 ways to ensure that the seeds are free from this weevil. Okay, that is a third question that I'm foreseeing in the mind of the examiner. One question again is that for this weevil to damage this bean seed, there could be a kind of adaptation. There is an adaptation that enables this bean to attack, this weevil to attack the bean. That will come in the next question here. The adaptation for the survival of weevil when it's about to damage seed, or when it's already damaged the seed. Adaptation of weevil on specimen A. Okay, now if you look at the weevil critically, you find out that there is a long mouth called proboscis. So I will say that possession of proboscis. Position of this proboscis for bottling into the seed. Possession of proboscis for bottling the seed. Another adaptation could be small size. Small body size. Small body size. Small body size will enable it to permeate through the hole created. Position of proboscis, small body size. These are adaptations to which weevil can be able to sustain or live in this bean seed. Okay, apart from, another way examiner may come in, apart from this weevil that attack this bean, mention other pests that can attack this food item, beans, apart from weevil. Examiner may want to know whether is the only weevil that can attack this seed. We want to explore other pests that can attack this weevil. Apart from weevil that attack beans, other that can attack weevil could be rodents. rodents can attack weevil, can attack beans. Rodent can attack even birds. Birds can also attack. Even squirrel can also attack this. Attack bean seed. So it is not only weevil that attacks this seed. What other animal that can attack it is what? Rodents and what? Birds. How do you make sure that the beans is safe from rodents and birds? You can use biological method. Introduction of biological method. Rodenticide is a substance that can what? Kill or repel the rodents from having access to where these beans are cultivated or planted, as the case may be. So let's take our mind off the weevil. Let's now come to the bean seed itself. Examiner would like you to see, having seen how a seed that has been damaged by weevil, you may be asked to explain what you observe on the bean itself. What will be your observation? So you will see a question like this: observable feature or characteristic of specimen A. What do you observe? What do you observe? I will observe that the seeds are perforated, or there are so many holes, or there are so many cavities. And you have seen a bean, so you see so many holes on it. See many holes. It is perforated, it has holes, there are cavities. That is what you observe, provided that the seeds are damaged by weevil. You can even see some of these weevil coming out. Sometimes we even see that the bean is even powdered. There will be a rate of attack, high rate of attack. You now see that the bean is already powdered. Some part of the bean has been eaten up by the weevil. So that is what you are likely going to observe on a bean seed that has been damaged by a weevil. Okay, now looking at these beans away from the weevil now infested, now the examiner wants you to explain this bean seed once again in terms of being viable, since the second specimen is another bean seed again, but this time this is viable, but the one that has been attacked by weevil will no longer be viable. What do you mean by viability? Yes, viability is one factor that will affect germination. If a seed is not viable, it will not germinate. So, but viable seed germinates. So the seed that has been attacked, eaten up by weevil, will not be viable and cannot germinate. So in preference to A and B, a farmer will prefer specimen B to A because this is viable. If all other conditions are necessary, this viable seed will germinate. Apart from viability of seed, other factors that will affect germination will be water, oxygen, and air. Then viable seed. So if all conditions are available on this specimen A, what about viability? It is not viable and it will affect its germination. So this will not germinate, but this will germinate. Still on specimen A, examiner would like you to classify specimen A into kingdom, phylum, phylum, division, since it is, remember the first one we classify is the weevil that infects specimen B, specimen A. Now, examiner will want to ask the question now to classify the weevil infested seed into kingdom, division, and then class. Okay, specimen A and B, I'm going to be doing this simultaneously because specimen A is seed, bean, seed. This one is seed, bean, seed. But just that, one is viable, One does not have perforation on one it doesn't have holes or perforation. The other one has hole. This one does not have any hole because it's viable. So that means since there is no infestation of the Weevil, this does not have any cavity. So, but both of them are still classified. That's still found in the same classification. Like the kingdom to which I'm going to classify A and B being plants will be placed in a kingdom called Plantae or Plantae. Why do we classify specimen A and B in the kingdom Plantae? Simply because they are not consumers, they are producers. So they belong to this kingdom Plantae. And then the division, if you come to plant kingdom, in the 5 kingdom of classification, there are 4 divisions in plants. The first division in plants is simply called the talophytes. Talophytes, or we call Talophyta. Second division is Bryophyta. Third division is Pteridophyta. And then the last is Spermatophyta. This system is how you have to be. This system is classification of organism into the just 5 kingdoms. That's how you have it. But in 2 kingdoms, that means the first will be Schizophyta. Must also be the first plant, Schizophyta. So, but these 2 are special division of plants. These 2 are special division of plants, which we call Tracheophyta. This particular 2. Why calling them Tracheophyta is because out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the last 2 are vascular plants. The last 2 are vascular. On the bottom, vascular plants. What do I mean by being vascular plant? They are plants that has this conducting tissues, 1 called xylem, 2 called phloem for conduction. Okay, that is for these 2 plants. Out of these 5 divisions of plants, only these last 2 divisions has phloem and xylem for conduction. Okay, now, since we are looking at bean seed, out of these 5 divisions of this we have in plants, bean seed belongs to, they are tracheophytes, that is vascular plants. But we have 2 types of vascular plants. With beans, we classify as pteridophytes. No, pteridophyte does not bear seed, but spermatophyte bears seed. So on that note, bean seed will belong to the what? Spermatophytes. But we could go on and on and on to still split these divisions into 2 or 3. Okay, the first could be the division. Here will be division, and here will be subdivision. Okay, let's have it into 2. The main is division. The second is subdivision. Okay, subdivision. Okay, since that these 2 are tracheophyte, vascular plant. So I'll first have the first division as Tracheophyta. Then the second division called subdivision will then be, it will not be pteridophyte, but second division will now be Spermatophyta. That is on the second division. Okay, but now Tracheophyta means that it's a vascular plant. Spermatophyta means that it is a vascular plant that bears seed. Okay, then if I come to this class, I can break this class into 2 or 3 rather. 3. 1 will be the superclass. A superclass, super, then class, then subclass. Okay, that's 3 types of class, just like 3 types of division and subdivision. Superclass. We have 2 types of spermatophytes. It could either be angiosperm, or gymnosperm. Okay, gymnos are seeds that are naked. The seed, being seed are not naked seeds, so they will be an angiosperm. So under that superclass, being is going to be angiospermia. Okay, when it comes to the other region of the angiospermia, we have two types of angiospermia. The angiospermia can either be dicot or monocot. Since being seed can break into two half seeds, so it's a dicot. So the class here we could have it as dicotyledon. Dicotyledon. Okay, look at what I'm going to do now. Since a word examiner will be asked you is kingdom, division, and class, so I can summarize this quickly by saying that the kingdom will be plenty. Then the division, I will just take one division. And then the division I'm going to take now with this super can come up as division, so I can come and have it as what? Angiospermatophyta, since it's not a division, and then the class is dicotyledon. Okay, that is it. So we're going to take this kingdom, plenty, division, angiospermatophyta, then class dicotyledon. These are the division of bean seed or damaged bean seed into kingdom, division, and class. But if the examiner says you put kingdom, division, subdivision, superclass, and class, and then it had to be arranged this way: kingdom, plantia; division, Trichophyta; subdivision, Spermatophyta; superclass, Angiospermia; class, Dicotyledon. But if they want us to scale it into 3, that means we have to say kingdom, plantia, then we now scale this and now pick the superclass and now use it as division as Angiospermatophyta. We're not going to call it Angiospermia now because it's a division now. This is now coming in here as division, so it will be Angiospermatophyta, and then the class will now be Dicotyledon. That will be on the notes for supposing we are asked to classify this either A and B into the various kingdom, division, and then class. Okay, we'll look at other minds of these examiners now. We'll try to preempt them in this video. Now, looking at this A and B again, why I'm saying A and B is that there is not much difference between the two of them, except that A is not viable, B is viable. A farmer would prefer to cultivate specimen B than specimen A. Now, in terms of either A or B, since both of them are being seed, examiner will like you to, as a student that has gone through series of SS1, series of senior classes starting from SS1, 2, and 3, examiner will like to test your knowledge about the food class. We have 6 classes of food. Out of these classes of food, which class does specimen B or A belongs? In the 6 classes of food, specimen B, let me now come to specimen B now. Enough of specimen A. Specimen B belongs to which class of food? It belongs to what? Protein. Protein. So specimen B is proteinous, but belong to class of what? Proteins. And then they would like to know what are the functions of this protein. The function of protein, 1 is body building. bodybuilding. 2, protein repair. Protein repair worn out tissues or old tissues. Protein is used in the biosynthesis of enzymes, hormones. So these are the functions of protein. The examiner has give 2 uses of protein. Since he said that the food type, the food class of specimen B or A is protein. What are the functions? 1, bodybuilding. 2, repair worn out tissue. 3, biosynthesis of enzymes. 4, biosynthesis of hormones. These are the functions of protein. The examiner wants to know that, since you know that these are functions of protein, where does digestion of protein begins? Or where does digestion of specimen B begins? Digestion of specimen B or protein will start or will begins in the stomach. Digestion of specimen B starts in the stomach. It's very important to know that digestion begins in the stomach. Examiner want to ask this question again. What enzyme specifically or chemically break down specimen B? Which enzyme break down specimen B? So since specimen B is a type of protein, the enzyme that breaks down specimen B in the stomach is pepsin. Pepsin change this protein to peptones. It change it to what? To peptones. Take notes. The enzyme that is responsible for chemically breaking down specimen B in the stomach is pepsin. Okay. Now, that is on the issue of class of food. Then, the examiner wants to know that after this digestion, what is the end products of this digestion of specimen B or protein? The end products of digestion of specimen B is amino acid. Always take notes. If you see that question tomorrow, the enzyme that break down this is pepsin. You change it to peptone, but later on the peptone is hydrolyzed to amino acid. That is the end product of that digestion. Okay, now let's look at another issue still on specimen A and B. Now, examiner will want to ask this simple question now. The type of food crop. There is a crop, being a cultivated crop. What type of crop is specimen B or A? Specimen B. What type of food crop is specimen B? Specimen B is a type of food crop called legumes. Legumes. Food crop is legume. Legume is the type of food crop of specimen A or B. Legumes. Legumes. Very important. Legumes. Okay, examiner one know, is bean seed the only leguminous plant? The answer is no. Then the examiner would like to ask the students, give 2 or 3 other leguminous plants or crop apart from specimen A and B. Other leguminous plants. Other leguminous plants are 1. Groundnut seed is a leguminous plant. 2. Mucuna purine. Mucuna purine or velvet beans is also a leguminous plant. We also have a melon, is also a leguminous plant, and so many of them. Okay, that is apart from basic. Give example of other leguminous plants. And again, examiner would like to know, how are they dispersed, mode of their dispersal. All leguminous plants are dispersed by explosive mechanism. Mode of dispersal. Mode of this dispersal. Mode of dispersal by explosive mechanism. Explosive mechanism for specimen A and specimen B. Okay, enough of specimen A and specimen B. Let's go to specimen C now. Specimen C. Dry maize grain is specimen C. Okay. This specimen C, which is dry maize grain. The following questions here is what you'll be looking out for. 1. To state or classify specimen C. Classification. Specimen C into kingdom, phylum, and class. Since it is a plant, it belongs to Plantae. Change this into division. Remember, division is going to be Angiospermatophyta, and the class is Monocotyledon. Monocotyledon. Okay, it differs from A and B in that the class is Monocotyledon, but A and B is Dicotyledon. Two-seeded plant is A and B, while C is one-seeded plant. Okay, looking at another question about specimen C now, examiner want to explore the following now. Let's look at the second question on this specimen C. You may be asked to state the food class. What class of food is found in specimen C? Food class. Food class in specimen C. Specimen C, the class of food in specimen C is carbohydrates. 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 Just like the food class of A and B is protein, C is carbohydrates. And then what is the function of carbohydrates? Function of carbohydrates is energy. Energy giving food. Though the food class in specimen C is carbohydrates, what is the function of carbohydrates? What is the function of maize grain in organism? Is it gives the body energy, or you can call it energy giving food. Okay, you will see a question like this: where does the digestion of specimen C or carbohydrate begins? Digestion of specimen C begins in the mouth. Begin in the mouth. You may see another question like, what enzyme in the mouth converts specimen C, which is carbohydrates, or the class of carbohydrates in specimen C is typical starch. Starch per se. Starch is one of the examples of polysaccharide, that is also a carbohydrates. Then what enzyme converts starch to its simpler form? The enzyme in the mouth that converts this starch is ptyalin. thiolane, the enzyme that converts starch to maltose and probably glucose. The end product of that digestion is glucose. Still on dry maize grain. Okay, the examiner would like to ask this question: difference between this and this, B and C. Or they can say structural differences between C or between B and C. Remember, when you see a question like this on differences, it should be in tabular form. So here would be B, here would be C. Okay, we have to start with the shape of the two seeds. What is the shape of bean? Beans have C-shaped or kidney. That's the shape of beans. Kidney-shaped or C-shaped. What will be the shape of maize? Maize is triangular. Triangular shape. Okay, that's the first structural difference between B and C. And then 2, we look at the color of the two variables. What is the color of beans? Beans is silvery white color. Silvery white color. Why this is what? Brownish / yellow color. Brownish / yellow color. This on structural differences. Under beans, can say two-seeded plants. Two-seeded, just two-seeded here, one or single seeded. These are on structural differences. Under these two-seeded, you can here still call it dicots. Here, you can still call it monocots. These are on the structural differences between viable bean seed and dry maize grain.